This conference will now be recorded.
We are going to mute all the delegates during the webinar. And when you are supposed to ask a question, we'll unmute you. And also please use the chat so that you can chat, you can type your questions, and then we'll make time to respond to your questions. And I would like to take you through why you are doing these webinars. The objective of our webinar is to promote AEN as the key mechanism to support evidence communities and evidence use across Africa. So this is one of the platforms we're using to ensure that we engage with our communities, we start conversations, we continue conversations, and ensure that we share our work. And then the other issue, this platform, is for discussing knowledge and sharing our peer networks of individuals and organizations. And also we're building relationships, because that is important to AEN, to build relationships and join up continental evidence ecosystem. And also we want to ensure that we identify synergies and lessons that are emerging in our work that we are doing. Just to briefly take you through our program today, I've just given the welcome and just the introduction, and we are going to have 5 speakers that are going to give 5 minutes reflections and feedback from the conference, and also myself as the chair of the AEN, I'll also give reflections from our side. Just to kick off this session, because I saw Rachel, I don't know whether she's pressed for time, if I can request that we ask Rachel to present first in that particular order, so that we are able to go to the other speakers. I will unmute Rachel, and Rachel, you can take it away.
Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello, Rachel. We can hear you. Oh, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. My name is Rachel Emasit from the Parliament of Uganda. I would like to thank you so much for this opportunity to provide feedback. What I can say is that the conference actually met the objective of engaging, understanding, and having an impact. I had the opportunity, just like the rest of the participants, to engage with a diverse group of people who are in production, translation, and use of evidence. Through the engagement, I was privileged, really privileged, to understand what is happening everywhere, what's going on in Africa and across the globe, how evidence is influencing different settings. The role of the citizen was actually an amazing revelation. The role of the citizen in production and use of evidence. All these in a period of just 1 week. It was amazing. So the experience gave me ideas on what to share with others back home, and what institutions like mine, I work for the Institute of Parliamentary Studies, that does capacity building for members, staff, and other stakeholders. So there are ideas on what we can do to bridge this gap as an institution that does capacity building. And what I took away is there's still a lot to do and learn about evidence. There's a clear role of persons and institutions that are interacting with policymakers, because we learned that evidence is not just for the shelf, but to ensure that it influences what must be done for the betterment of citizens. I also took away the need to find innovative and objective ways to work with the citizens. So all in all, it was such a wonderful experience for me, being a first timer, and I think that I will look forward to the rest of the conferences as they come along. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachel, for your presentation. We are very excited as AEN that we have given some of our first timers a great experience in the conference. And I would like to take this opportunity. I see Monash Gupta is also online. I would like to give her also the opportunity to present her 5 minutes presentation. Hello, Manisha.
Sorry about that. I did not unmute. Can you hear me all now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Take it away. Yes, you are on.
Okay. Hi, once again, Manisha Gupta from Delhi, India. I attended the Evidence Online 2018 straight from 26 to 28, and I found it very good and informative, and it served the purpose that the interest that I wanted to attend the Evidence Online. It gave me the opportunity to know about the Africa region. I have not worked in that region, and so I was very new, but I am currently working on a project. So it helped me, gave me this opportunity to learn from a distance, from first hand, from experts, and in real time, in my time zone, about the issues, about the evidence work and the use of evidence in the Africa region. So so with that, I found it extremely informative. On the last day, because of certain technical glitch, I was not able to completely attend the seminar, so I cannot fully comment on that. But I do have one feedback that I would like to say. For future seminars, we wish if we could attend, we would have choice to attend more parallel sessions.
Manisha?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much to our next speaker. I think she is one of the delegates that was really active on our online conference that we launched alongside Evidence 2018. And that is interesting to get feedback from those online delegates. And I see our next speaker is from Cameroon. She's available online. I would request her to be next to speak whilst we wait for the other speakers to join us.
Good day, everyone, and greetings. Miriam, can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks very much. It's a wonderful opportunity. I'm very delighted to join you all on this webinar from Bamenda, Cameroon. Once more, I'm Euphrasia Ndi, and it was really an opportunity for me to follow Evidence 2018 online live stream. It was a wonderful experience. I enjoyed it. As my fellow presenters have said, Rachel and Manish, it was very inspirational and we had to learn new things. I went back with these following reflections and feedback. The very first one, I found the evidence 2018 very, very engaging, just like the theme of the conference. It says engage, understand, and impact. Really was engaging because just the very fact that they had to live stream the event, that was great. It gave us opportunity to engage in the conference, even at a distance. So that was wonderful. A hand of applause for the organizers and us all who participated. I found it also very engaging at the level of the structure of the conference. And that helped to facilitate the understanding, our understanding, my understanding in particular. The conference was made up of both presentations, that's oral and posters, plenary sessions, on-spot studio interviews, and an opportunity, not just for us to follow, those of us from a distance, to follow on live stream, but also to chat and ask our questions. So that was very engaging. and I was really, really enjoying it. I really enjoyed it. And I want to say that a lot was said during Evidence 2018. A lot was said about evidence, sentences, evidence translation, evidence implementation. But these are the things that actually struck me the most. The very first one, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the names of the presenters. So the very first thing that struck me most, was the aspect of how to foster evidence uptake among policymakers. This is very important because one of the presenters said something. We can have all the evidence, how beautiful they are. We actually present them, how real and realistic everything is. But the thing is, we must find that meeting point between policymakers and the evidence. That is, if I can paraphrase what he said, what is the initiative for evidence-informed decision-making for policymakers? Why would they take up this evidence? What is their incentive for taking up this evidence? It's very important that we find an answer to that question, or at least we open discussions in those areas. Because it's only when those policymakers will find their incentive, I want to call it political currency, if and only if they have a political currency, that we can be sure that they will buy into evidence uptake, and that will foster our initiative of evidence-informed decision making. It was very important also that we keep an eye on this, because the ongoing health system research 2018 in UK is echoing this aspect again. I would like to borrow from Teresa Norton's tweet of yesterday. She says, and I quote, Nigeria participants, this is their take on evidence uptake in policy. And she actually gives a quote. She says, it can work. That's she's actually quoting from the Nigerian participants. It can work if you have good evidence and if you give the policymakers political currency through uptake of evidence. So it's very critical that as evidence synthesizers and implementators, we look and find that meeting point that would encourage our policymakers to take up evidence. Very important. The next thing is, I observed a speaker in his opening, at the start of his presentation, he's French speaking, and he said that, unfortunately for him, his presentation would have been more engaging and he would have been more fluent in his presentation if he was allowed to give this presentation in French. I want to say at this note that I will, it might be wise, I'm just thinking aloud, it might be wise for us to loosen up a bit on our presentation language when we take into consideration our African diversity. We know that a good number of African countries have their official languages as French. And I think that technology has given us the laxity to actually bridge that gap of language. We can use headset translators and so on. So that's another aspect I would like to point out in the light of equity. And last but not the least, one of the presenters, I earlier excused myself for not remembering the names. One of the presenters actually brought in a very strong point, which is a reality in Africa. A good chunk of evidence is not penned. That is, a good chunk is unwritten, which can be very vital in policy uptake. So incorporating unwritten evidence, I think it's a sensitive area and something we should take to heart, because normally when we look at evidence synthesis, it puts us at a disadvantage, us Africans, because much of what happens around in Africa and the knowledge we have, I will not want to say it's not written, but I want to say even a large chunk of what is written is not published, which means that evidence synthesis that takes into consideration mostly published materials leaves a good chunk of our African evidence out of the lens. So it's very important that we open up discussions, or we start looking at initiatives on how to incorporate unwritten, vital, and valuable evidence into our evidence ecosystem. I think for now, that's what I got, that's what I gathered, but all in all, I enjoyed it so much, and I was so happy that I ended up being the winner of the live stream question. Yes, the live stream question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your input. We are very excited about your input, because also you experienced our online. So we're trying to strike that balance between the people that experienced the physical event and then the online event. Just to indicate that 2 of our speakers have not joined us yet, but for this time, I'll just give you sort of what we've gathered as AEN around this event already, just to add on some of the inputs, though we're still continuing to collect feedbacks and reflections, so that we make sure that 2020 is also trying to give you more or a better experience. In terms of us as AEN, for us, the conference was a success because it attracted 298 unique users on the online conference, and we had 222 registered events in Pretoria in South Africa. That gives us 520 delegates that engaged with this conference. So that for us is exciting. From 2016, we had 150 delegates to go into 520. That's a great and a big milestone for AEN. And I'm very excited when delegates are saying the content of the conference was appreciated. You know, they've learned new things, and others, you know, felt that there's more discussions to be done in some of the areas. And then some of the delegates are indicating that the purpose, results, and the outcomes were regarded as relevant and meaningful in this conference. And also, some of the participants felt that the lessons from the sessions that were presented in terms of what has worked and what has not worked were also insightful. So I think one of the speakers has also, you know, highlighted the theme that we had. And also around this theme, we had 5 strands to make sure that our work is sort of across different strands. We had 5 strands: a strand on quality education, we had a strand on good governance, we had climate resilience, a communicable disease, and a general evidence strand, which is the strand that was picking up on all the discussions that were taking place in 2016. And then also, as AEN, we're going to continue to deliver and develop our services to facilitate the networking, which is our ultimate goal to help our policymakers and provide services to make better decisions and achieve better outcomes. And I think by drawing up from the best evidence research and other sources. This will be achieved by us as AEN doing ongoing activities that are building bridges and relationships between these policymakers, researchers, and thinkers from different sectors and communities in the continent. And also for us, we want to continue to start and develop conversations and to shared learning, because we can't learn on our own, we need to learn together. And also we want to continue to raise the profile of evidence-informed decisions in Africa, and Africa's innovation and leadership in this field around the world. And most importantly, we want to provide a number of capacity sharing platforms to our members. This webinar is one of those examples that we want to make sure that we continue that on a bi-monthly basis and create these platforms. And then communication support. We had the website going, social media, our app, and also interviews. People are saying were considerable. I've noticed that our next speaker is available. I'll just be wrapping up and then we'll call upon our next speaker. Also, participants suggested that we need to do more connections, more networking, more discussion, sort of an interactive setup to sort of balance that, to make sure that we make more conversations. And as AEN, we're going to explore more collaborations for Evidence 2020. And then we're going to do smaller events in the non-conference year, which is 2019, to pick up on conversations in Evidence 2018 and other events to build up to 2020. Just also to indicate that we made sure that members are involved in this conference. For example, we did an annual survey just before, I think, building up to the conference. And the 4 topics of workshops that were running in the conference were selected by members. Those are the topics that members felt are important. And I think just to touch to the point on French-speaking countries, there was a workshop that was looking at how do we bridge the divide between the Francophone and Anglophone countries. And we've taken some notes as AEN to make sure that we'll cater for the Francophone countries going forward. Bursaries were also offered to our members that were not able to attend the conference, so they attended, and they produced evidence maps that are helping us to better understand the evidence and knowledge systems at country level and at sector level in the country. So currently, as AEN, we have a collection of 41 of these maps, and we're very excited about that. And then also blogs were written by our members leading to the conference. They participated in our governance structures. And I think we're going to continue to have reflection and feedback sessions through an evaluation form that is going to go to all the members to give us their reflections and their feedback. And we're looking forward to incorporate these reflections and feedback that we're receiving from all the different members and people that we are consulting. Thank you very much. I think that's basically what AEN is reflecting on, and there's more to come that we are going to be looking at. So I would call upon the next speaker to talk to us, which is a professor from Ethiopia. So I'll give him.
Hello.
Professor, over to you.
Okay, I will contribute my reflections. What I learned from this conference, there are from various sessions I learned different stakeholders and needs of the different information and evidences. At the community level, at the community needs, there are policy and program type of information is required, and they need the technical and scientific information, and political and social implications for all this information, and they also want they should be heard by their voices by various stakeholders. And second type of information stakeholders are program implementers, and they need a local level program implementers, and they are the local level decision makers, and they need policy guidelines, implementation tools, monitoring and evaluation tools, and how to deal with difficult situations. This information is needed to them, and evidence is needed. Then policymakers, those who prepare the technical guidelines and the policy, those people, they need the global evidence as well as the true national evidence, as well as the regional evidence also. If the Africa is there, then African regional evidence also they need. Then there is parliamentarians, they need the mostly the national level evidence, because they are particularly on their constituencies on all developmental programs, and also they need to support that the global evidence. And another is the national level decision makers. They are the ministers, prime minister, and the certain people, those who are the chairmen of the committees. They need the national as well as the global evidence. And these different types of evidences, for that thing, my suggestions are, for this, there is a need to develop and document needs assessment as well as requirements of evidence or information at a different level of stakeholders. And for this, the context matters. Politics shapes the context. Then evidence utilization to collaborate. There is a need to collaborate with evidence producers, evidence translators, evidence utilizers, and evidence implementers. And this process needs institutionalization. And funding agencies should prioritize on these areas, selecting few countries to implement or funding to use activities. Then Africa Evidence Network should establish committees if thought fit on above aspects, of documentation of various needs, then current evidence utilization mechanisms in each country, and institutionalizations of evidence utilization. And very important, I will conclude, is that what do we do when evidence is not used? These things I think we should really look into when we really, AEN has already given the thought for communication strategies and the different types of things. This is my reflection of the evidence conference of 2018. Thank you.
I think I would like to give an opportunity to some of the members that are online to maybe give their comment or their inputs, or if they have a question, they can give us a question whilst we are waiting for the last speaker. Can I maybe see ML Johnson is online? Can I give you an opportunity to share something or say something? Any questions or comments or inputs? Thank you. Okay, I've seen that Manisha, you put something on the chat. Would you maybe like to expatiate on what you've shared with us?
Yeah. Hi. Sorry, my last sentence while I was speaking was cut because I unplugged my my earphone. All I wanted to say was to conclude that I found the evidence 2018 extremely insightful and engaging, and I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to not only attend and also to participate and hear more on experts' reflections about the evidence conference.
Thank you very much for your input. Reflect and give feedback in terms of evidence 2018.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. I found it. It may be a feedback, or I just want more more input, how I should go about if I were to attend an online. I found it extremely difficult to chat and as well as attend the conference at the same time. So I was unable to make use of the networking opportunity at that time. So I'm wondering if anyone was able to, and if they have any inputs.
Thank you very much for that comment. The online conference, I think because it was the first time. That will really assist us, because that is why we are engaging in these processes, to consult all the online participants so that we get their inputs as well, so that we improve next time when we do this in 2020, because we want it to be better and better, to make sure that our online participants and the physical delegates that are attending a conference in a venue benefit the same way, and they're able to engage the same way. I'm checking if our last speaker is on. I'm looking if Beryl is online. So that is the last speaker that needs to share her insights and reflections. Okay, in the absence of the last speaker, I think we would continue this conversation. I think whilst I was presenting, I think also some of the people online, they talked about technical glitches that they experienced. That we are going to be looking at that as well, to see how best we do that. And also, secondly, because of the conference, our membership has increased. We need to find ways as the network to be able to respond to our members. If we have plus minus 1,700 members, how do we best respond to their needs as the network? Through different platforms that we are going to be putting together towards 2019. And also just to indicate that the AEN team, we had a debriefing session, I think just after the conference, I think on the 1st of October, just to debrief ourselves and say, what have we learned in the evidence conference, and how are we going to incorporate the feedback and reflections that we are receiving from our delegates. So we're working very hard to make sure that those inputs are going to be used, and also using our consultative processes, and also using some of our tools that we have, because on a monthly basis, AEN produces a newsletter. We have asked some of our members to produce a blog also on their experiences of the conference, and we had media covering some of our events. So there's a lot of input that is going to be received by the AEN to ensure that we better the Evidence 2020 experience in particular for our members. So I don't know if there's anyone who wants to give their input from the members. I've noticed that Robert has also joined us. Would you like to share your experiences with us, Robert? Because we are one of the interviewees in our online program. Hi, Robert.
Maybe try the second one.
Any comments from the attendees? Okay, Euphrasia, please go ahead.
Yes, please. Just to mention this, I don't know if the sessions of the other areas of focus were not live streamed, but I found that the conference was predominantly on good governance. But when I looked at the theme and the main areas of focus, I see quality education, communicable diseases, climate resilience. Yeah, I don't know, but because it's just a, a comment on passing. It's like the conference was predominantly on good governance. And also, there's another aspect that I noticed about the conference, which I really loved. I really, when you look at the gender equality, I saw a lot of women. I'm sorry if I'm being paranoid, but I found a lot of, a handful of women and in technical positions. I love that about the conference. Also, when you also look at the conference, the participants, a cross section of them came from policy making angles. Like you had parliamentarians, secretaries of cabinet of government officials, and all of that. And that was very, good. It's a very good indication when we are talking about policy making and the uptake of evidence in policy making. It's critical that we have those decision makers among us. It's critical that we have them at the center of it, and it's critical that we have them participate in our evidence-informed decision-making events, such as AEN Evidence 2018. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Euphrasia. Thank you very much for your input. I see online we have Kevin. I would like to also give him maybe an opportunity to share his reflection or feedback. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Kelvin. Please share your reflections and inputs for evidence 2018 if you have any, or if you have a question or a comment. Okay, thank you very much. I've been trying to look at the chat and I see comments around Anglophone and Francophone countries. I think just as I've mentioned earlier, what we've done this year, because that was something that came also from the members, to say, how do you, as AEN, cater for Francophone countries? How do we break those barriers? So we had a workshop that we held as one of the topics. So the discussions in that group was, it is important for us to find ways to partner with organizations that have capacity to do Franco or French translations, and also help us in terms of how we deliver our services as AEN, because at the moment, AEN does not necessarily have that capacity. So what we've done in next year with Afria is having their conference. So we're going to be partnering with other organizations to have a satellite session in that particular conference to ensure that we begin to cater for the French-speaking members of AEN and French-speaking countries. So we'll start small and grow that part of our work, because we're really interested in that, because it is important for AEN to be able to respond to the needs of their members. Because I think with 1,700 members, we have a lot of members also that are from West Africa and North Africa. How do we make sure that we cater for all our members effectively and efficiently, so they also feel they are part of this community, and they can also learn from this community, and they can also share their own lessons, because we want to learn from them. I'm sure there's a lot of amazing work that is done in Francophone countries that the network can learn from. So that's something that is important to the AEN that we are looking into, and we received a lot of inputs around that particular aspect. Any comments from the attendees?
How would they have the hello?
Hello, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
But they are not able to. We are not able to learn everything from few landscapes only. That is my suggestion. In 2020 evidence conference, you make sure that various countries make their landscape presentations. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that input. We'll put it, as we pull together all the inputs that we are receiving, we'll pull that information as well. Just to let you know also, we're going to be sending out evaluation forms to all the participants that attended online and the physical conference, to also share their inputs with us, so that as we plan, we know what are the things that we need to keep, what are the things that we need to strengthen, and what are the things that we need to introduce for evidence 2020. Any other inputs from the attendees?
The phrase is awesome.
All right. I see there's one question around access to the archive material for evidence 2018. All the participants for the online conference are going to have access to the archived material for free for the next month. And then after that month, they will be able to purchase the material. So I encourage participants to go on now and be able to get the material that is being archived. But currently, we are trying to sort of finish some of the videos and some of the material to put online. As soon as that process is done, a link is going to be sent to all the members, and also the information in terms of you have access to this material for the next month. After that is finished, members will begin to have to pay to access the material. So the link is on its way with all the material that was recorded on the online conference. Thank you very much. I've been receiving some of your chats. Thank you very much, because some of you were very excited about the network opportunities that were at the conference. And also just to say, for the first time, we also had the first timer and networking session. And some of the members feel we need to do that a bit longer, because we just wanted to introduce AEN to all the first timers, because we wanted you to feel welcome in the event. So I think that is something that we want to also take forward, and also explore more networking platforms during the conference to make sure that members stay connected to one another, talk to one another, talk to different people. Because I remember in the conference, we stressed that if you attended the conference, you need to make sure that on a daily basis, you speak to 5 people that you haven't spoken to. So I hope a lot of people, and I think some of the people are giving us some feedback to say, no, I've met a particular person in the conference, we're going to partner in a particular program. So that is exciting for us to see some of these connections coming to positive outcomes. So we're very excited as AEN for the work that we are doing, and we're very excited about these webinars. This is something that we were not doing before, and we started to engage. Now you can even see in terms of the spread of the speakers that we have. We try to make sure that we get different speakers, different views from across the continent and beyond. So we are really excited about the work that AEN is doing, and we want to make sure that you as our members, our partners, have a great experience with us. We have I think a question that will sort of help us wrap up the webinar. Does anyone have any suggestion for any kind of webinars they would like to attend in the future? That will be great also, because this is a new initiative that we've undertaken. It will be great also to get suggestions from members of topics that will be useful to you or beneficial to you as members. Okay, thank you very much to all the attendees, and I think we've received great feedback as AEN, and we're going to take it in for ourselves and see how we best improve this. And this brings us to the end of our webinar, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining us and participating, because it means a lot to the AEN to get inputs from different people to make sure that we get better as the network, to make sure that we respond to your actual needs as we navigate our way in terms of delivering service to all our members. And our next webinar will be the first week of December, and we would be looking at evidence ecosystem maps, and also would like to share a bit with you what you should look forward to in 2019 in terms of the work that AEN will be doing. So we would like to really thank you very much for taking time to engage with us from across the continent and beyond. Thank you very much. The webinar is adjourned. See you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Thank you. Sorry I came late.
Patrick, next time. Sorry. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. I
Please
had
do.
a wrong